In a moment that's sending shock waves across the United Kingdom, King Charles has just made a bold, history-making announcement that no one saw coming. Royal watchers, political leaders, and everyday citizens are all reeling as the monarch breaks centuries of tradition with a single powerful statement. So, what could possibly prompt such a daring move from the king? Is this the beginning of a new royal era, or the end of an old one? Stay with us as we unpack the jaw-dropping details behind King Charles's stunning declaration. Downsizing for the people. In a bold and unexpected move that's shaking the foundations of royal tradition, King Charles has announced a major shift in how the British monarchy will operate going forward. This isn't just about changing a few customs. It's a deep and meaningful transformation that affects both the face and the function of the royal family. From now on, royal titles will no longer automatically mean luxury, prestige, or a free pass to public money. In fact, only a very small group of royals will remain at the heart of the monarchy. That group includes King Charles himself, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and William's direct heirs. These individuals alone will carry out official duties and represent the crown. Everyone else, regardless of their royal blood, will step back from the spotlight, and more importantly, from the public purse. This is not just a cosmetic adjustment or a nod to modern times. It is a real structural reform with clear consequences. The royal family's spending will be drastically reduced. Expensive travels, official events, and personal expenditures by royals will now be closely examined, and the public will have the right to know exactly where their money is going. For a monarchy that has often operated behind closed doors, this is nothing short of revolutionary. King Charles's decision is sending a clear message. The monarchy must now be about service, not spectacle. Gone are the days of unquestioned privilege and blind loyalty. Instead, we are entering an era where every royal duty must have purpose. Every penny spent must be justified, and the institution itself must earn the respect of the people, not simply expect it. This radical move comes at a time when the public is demanding more openness and responsibility from its leaders. And the monarchy is no exception. By choosing to downsize the royal roster and open the books to the public eye, King Charles is not just following the tide of modern expectations. He is taking the lead. It's a calculated risk, but also a powerful statement. Tradition must adapt if it is to survive. This new direction may spark debates and raise eyebrows, especially among those who cherish royal customs. But for others, it's a refreshing change, one that could redefine what it means to be royal in the 21st century. The pomp and pageantry will still be there, but behind it will be a leaner, more focused, and more accountable monarchy. In essence, King Charles is reshaping the monarchy into something more relatable, more responsible, and perhaps more enduring. It's a historic turn that could influence royal families around the world. And it all begins with fewer crowns, fewer carriages, and a lot more clarity. Let's take a look at the likely antecedent for the downsizing: the growing rebellion against the British monarchy. Protests against the British royal family have a long history, stretching back decades. The monarchy, despite its grandeur and tradition, has often found itself in the eye of political storms. Take, for instance, Queen Elizabeth's visit to Quebec in 1964. Her arrival was met not with cheers, but with open public disapproval, signaling early discontent. Similarly, in 1981, during a visit to New York by Prince Charles, protests erupted amid the troubles in Northern Ireland, leading to the arrest of 4 individuals. These incidents were not isolated. They were part of a broader pattern of the royal family being a lightning rod for political unrest. Even the younger royals, usually seen as more modern and in tune with current times, have not escaped the backlash. In 2022, Prince William and Kate Middleton embarked on a Caribbean tour meant to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. However, what was intended as a goodwill mission quickly turned sour. The first stop in Bice had to be canceled due to fierce protests by locals who opposed their presence. What should have been a celebration instead highlighted the growing gap between the monarchy and the former colonies, leaving many questioning the relevance of the royal family in today's world. But since the death of Queen Elizabeth and the ascension of King Charles III to the throne, the discontent has become louder, more organized, and more visible. In November 2022, during a visit to York, King Charles and Queen Camilla found themselves narrowly escaping eggs thrown at them by a protester. This act of defiance quickly made headlines, drawing attention to a rising movement. The group leading this charge is Republic, an organization campaigning for the monarchy to be replaced with an elected head of state. Their slogan, "Not my king." This phrase has transformed from a mere catchphrase into a powerful symbol of the public's frustration and disillusionment with the monarchy. What is unfolding is no fringe movement. As Michaela Fell of Insider reported after attending an anti-monarchy protest in Scotland, the crowd was sizable, composed of hundreds of people, not just a handful of radicals. This is a swelling movement, and it's gaining momentum. People are linking the monarchy's historical ties to colonialism with the present-day need for democratic reforms, weaving together past grievances and future aspirations into a call for change. Whether through the dramatic gesture of egg throwing or well-organized rallies, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The royal family may still shine with its centuries-old traditions, but for many, that shine is beginning to fade. The monarchy, once revered, now faces a growing tide of skepticism and demand for reform. Will this discontent evolve into a full-fledged movement that alters the future of Britain's royal family? Only time and the will of the people will reveal the answer. Let's dig further into King Charles's response to the agitations. The crown gives back. In an extraordinary move that has captivated both the nation and the world, King Charles made a powerful statement of humility and change. He announced that two of the most iconic royal estates, Balmoral and Sandringham, would no longer be private retreats exclusively for the royal family. These historic residences, long symbols of royal luxury and privilege, are being opened up to the public in a bold and groundbreaking way. Instead of being just lavish getaways for royalty, these grand estates will now become museums, research centers, and even community housing projects accessible to everyone. This isn't just about giving away property, it's a deeply symbolic act. The king's decision represents a dismantling of the old barriers that have often placed the monarchy on a pedestal far removed from the lives of ordinary citizens. For generations, these estates were the epitome of royal entitlement, private domains where the monarchy retreated from the world. Now, by returning them to the people, King Charles is sending a powerful message. The monarchy exists to serve the people, not just to be served by them. The move is significant on many levels. First, it challenges centuries of tradition that placed the crown in a space of untouchability, where the wealth and privileges of the royal family were kept out of reach of the public. By opening the doors of these once private estates, King Charles is signaling a new era of transparency, connection, and accountability. It's an invitation to the public to not just admire the royal family from a distance, but to engage with the monarchy in a more meaningful way. Moreover, this gesture speaks to a much deeper need for healing. Over the years, the British monarchy has faced growing criticism and calls for reform, with many feeling disconnected from the institution. This act of returning Balmoral and Sandringham is an effort to bridge that gap, to rebuild trust, and to show that the monarchy understands the concerns of the people. It's a step toward mending the divide between the crown and the common citizen, demonstrating that the monarchy is in touch with the changing times. In transforming these estates into spaces for public benefit, museums where history can be preserved and celebrated, research centers that promote learning, and housing projects that provide much-needed accommodation, King Charles is giving back more than just land. He is giving back a sense of ownership, a sense of community, and a sense of purpose. It's a powerful reminder that the role of the monarchy is not just to live in luxury, but to be a force for good in society. With this single act, King Charles has not only changed the fate of two historic properties, but has also redefined what it means to be royalty in the modern age. His message is clear. The monarchy's true power lies not in its wealth or status, but in its ability to serve the people. It's a vision that looks beyond tradition, focusing instead on what the monarchy can give back to society. And it's a vision that promises to resonate for generations to come. With his reforms, King Charles is seen by many as a modern monarch holding an ancient title. Let's dig further. A modern monarch in a traditional crown. A year into King Charles III's reign, the British monarchy has steered away from dramatic upheaval, instead opting for gentle, gradual changes. After the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, many people wondered if Charles would completely reshape the centuries-old institution that had defined his family for so long. But rather than making bold and radical moves, his first year as king has been characterized by subtle adjustments, preserving traditions with a hint of modern flair. After waiting 70 years for the throne, Charles assumed his role with surprisingly little turbulence. Although some of his more eccentric moments, like his visible frustration over a misplaced pen box, made the news, they were quickly overshadowed by notable diplomatic achievements. One such highlight was his eloquent bilingual speech during a state visit to Germany, which earned him praise. The underlying message from the new monarch has been clear. Change will come, but it will be gradual, not revolutionary. In the past, Charles was known for his outspoken views and idealistic aspirations, but now, as king, he approaches his responsibilities with more caution and humility, fully aware of the weight of the crown. His plans for slimming down the monarchy and modernizing its functions have been outlined, but the bold reforms some expected haven't materialized. Instead, Charles has embraced a role as a diplomat-in-chief, traveling across the UK, engaging with various faith communities, and fostering friendly relations with global leaders, including showing support for Ukraine's president amidst the ongoing conflict. From his first speech as king, Charles emphasized his desire to find a balance between honoring royal traditions and embracing progress. He openly acknowledged that he would step away from his previous activism, allowing his son Prince William to take the lead on important causes such as climate change and homelessness, issues that William has taken up with fresh enthusiasm. Charles's coronation in May was a symbolic representation of this balance between the old and the new. While it featured traditional ceremonies and the royal regalia that have marked monarchies for centuries, it also included representatives from non-Christian faiths, making it a historic and inclusive event. The ceremony was also notable for its inclusion of grassroots activists, not just high-ranking officials and titled individuals. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. Public scrutiny of the royal family's finances has intensified, and there are growing calls for more transparency and inclusivity within the institution. Some countries have begun to question their continued allegiance to the monarchy, and even within the royal family, tensions simmer, often highlighted by the outspoken critiques of Prince Harry and Meghan. Despite these obstacles, King Charles continues to move forward, fully aware that the monarchy is at a pivotal moment in its long history. His reign may not overturn centuries of tradition, but it is quietly ushering the royal family into the modern age, doing so with diplomacy, careful consideration, and just enough intrigue to keep the public's attention. As the world watches, the question remains, what kind of legacy does King Charles III hope to leave behind? Let's delve into King Charles's unique approach to owning past mistakes. One of the most remarkable moments in recent royal history wasn't a policy shift or grand gesture, but a deeply personal and powerful act. A public apology. With visible emotion, Charles candidly acknowledged times when the monarchy failed to stand with the people, choosing silence over comfort and detachment over empathy. This wasn't a carefully worded statement from a palace spokesperson. It came directly from the king, marked by sincerity and a rare emotional openness that resonated deeply with the public. Such a heartfelt apology from a monarch, a figure long tied to centuries of tradition, was almost unprecedented. Royals are not typically known for admitting fault or showing vulnerability, yet Charles broke that mold by embracing honesty and accountability. His words reflected a genuine recognition of the monarchy's past shortcomings and a willingness to connect with the people on a human level, an act that marked a quiet but powerful step toward a more compassionate and self-aware royal image. This rare act of repentance was not only about owning past wrongs, but about showing the world that true leadership sometimes requires humility and the courage to admit when things haven't gone as they should. This moment wasn't about drama, headlines, or spectacle. Rather, it was about depth, humanity, and a willingness to heal. King Charles's words were a reminder that, despite the grandeur of monarchy, at the heart of it all are people, and people make mistakes. The king's public apology was an acknowledgement of those mistakes, but it was also a step toward building a deeper connection with the very people the monarchy serves. It was an extraordinary moment not because of its fanfare, but because it allowed us to see a monarch not as a distant symbol of power, but as a human being capable of deep reflection and remorse. And for many, it might not be remembered for its grand gestures, but for the depth of its meaning, a moment where the heart of a leader was laid bare for the world to see. Let's dive into how the people view the monarchy after Charles's ascension, from queen to king. A year into King Charles III's reign, the British monarchy seems to be undergoing a quiet transformation rather than a dramatic overhaul. After waiting for over 70 years to ascend to the throne, Charles stepped into his role with grace, ensuring minimal disruption following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Charles has largely avoided controversy, aside from a brief, widely publicized moment of frustration over a pen box, and instead focused on fine-tuning the monarchy's tone to suit the present day. Rather than attempting to reinvent the institution, he has opted for subtle adaptation, with his first year marked by small but meaningful changes, such as increased diplomatic visits, heartfelt public speeches, and inclusive gestures that reflect a more modern and thoughtful approach to royal leadership. From warmly greeting Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to speaking in fluent German during a speech to Germany's parliament, Charles has embraced his role as a global diplomat and soft power ambassador. He has made an effort to connect with diverse communities across the UK, meeting with leaders of various faiths and highlighting the importance of inclusivity, which he emphasized in his first Christmas speech and during his coronation ceremony. For the first time in British history, leaders of non-Christian faiths were formally included in royal proceedings, signaling a move toward a more inclusive and representative monarchy. While King Charles has long championed environmental causes, he has stepped back from activism since becoming king, passing the responsibility to Prince William, who now leads initiatives on climate change and homelessness. This approach reflects the monarchy's tradition of continuity, honoring its historical roots while allowing for gradual evolution. Charles has avoided sweeping reforms, instead choosing to adapt slowly to the changing times. His coronation in May perfectly captured this balance, blending centuries-old rituals like the crowning and anointing with new elements that reflect the multicultural nature of modern Britain. The guest list was equally varied, with global leaders seated alongside local charity workers, symbolizing the monarchy's attempt to stay connected with the people it serves, and to represent a broader cross-section of society. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. There are growing public calls for greater transparency, accountability, and a reckoning with the monarchy's historical ties to colonialism and slavery. These issues have sparked a rise in Republican sentiment, particularly in some Commonwealth countries, and it remains to be seen whether the monarchy will maintain its current scope or lose territories over time. King Charles's first year on the throne has been marked by quiet, steady evolution rather than dramatic change. As biographer Sally Bedell-Smith notes, his reign is defined by incremental but visible shifts, a careful recalibration instead of a revolution. One groundbreaking move is his introduction of a shared leadership model, where Prince William takes on key duties like managing foreign relations and connecting the royal family with the public. This partnership signals a new direction for the monarchy and highlights William's growing role in shaping its future, though whether this approach will secure the monarchy's relevance remains to be seen. King Charles has introduced major reforms to modernize the monarchy, including a citizen-elected council to oversee royal activities and ensure transparency and accountability. He also proposed rewriting the centuries-old coronation oath to emphasize service, justice, inclusivity, and love for the country, shifting focus from traditional church and authority roles. These changes reflect his vision of a monarchy that evolves to better serve and connect with today's diverse society. In doing so, King Charles is setting the stage for a new era of royal leadership that resonates with the values and aspirations of a modern democratic society. What do you think about King Charles's stunning announcement and his strategic reforms? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.